Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Hello, welcome back to Piece by Piece Autism Podcast, and Happy New Year. We are starting our new season in the year 2026 and can hardly believe we are here. We hope all of you had a wonderful holiday season. And in light of that, we wanted to just do a holiday recap and share with you all of our holiday time spent with Alec and his experience as we recently shared kind of how we break down and support him to get the most out of the season. He spent a good amount of time coming from Utah to Texas with family and then transitioning back from Texas to Utah. And Christy, what would you give him as a letter grade? If you had to wrap it up with a grade, what did he earn?
Well, I would say he got a very solid B plus.
Nice.
Which, yeah, it's something to celebrate. I mean, we've had plenty of holidays where it hasn't come anywhere close to a B plus. So I'm feeling very good about the
Yes.
B plus. The holidays are definitely a work in progress. So, B plus. It's
Yeah.
good.
No, I like it. Like I mentioned, we had quite a bit of transition, and obviously with him flying, staying at different houses, there's always a lot of room for frustration or, lulls, behaviors, all of that. And we really saw minimal to zero of the behavior issues. He was on edge or amped a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about that.
All right. I think we do need to mention here real quick that Alec is my 28-year-old son, and he has severe nonverbal autism. He lives in a group home setting in Utah, and his family lives mostly in Texas. So he commutes back to Texas for the holidays. Sometimes he goes to California with caretakers. And so anyway, that's a little background on him.
The
For
background's
those,
important for our new
it's kind of,
listeners.
it's important to know where we are here and who we're talking about. But anyway, he's a fabulous 28-year-old guy. He's had a whole lifetime full of ABA, OT, speech, equine therapy, stuff like that. We've tried a lot of stuff with him. But anyway, that's where we landed, and he is doing pretty dang well.
Mm-hmm.
The travel, the transitions, it was all pretty good. It was not an A plus, but it was good. And I think that one of the things that we did that was great is that we kept the transitions very organized and very just two people. We
Mm-hmm.
threw Angie in for a day, but Angie's the type of caretaker that's been around him since he was a baby. So you can throw Angie in basically any time. He meshes well with her family, and that's never a problem. So
Yeah, we
like
just hung out for not long enough, but a short little day.
yeah,
It was awesome.
if we just sprinkle you in, we can sprinkle you in, and
Yeah,
there's no problem with that.
yeah.
So yeah, that's fine. So anyway, so his caretaker that used to live with him at his group home in Utah, she typically takes him for the holidays
Mm-hmm.
because it's just she and her mother at home, and they were able to have that holiday in Texas, very close to where we live. So that was great because then he flew home to Texas. He was just in Texas. And then we had to shuffle him back one for like a couple of hours for me to take him to a neurology appointment
Mm-hmm.
that he had to do in person. And so we did that. And then he went right back with her. And he was thrilled to see her when we went back because I think
Yeah.
he thought, wait a second,
Where's
Christmas was a day and a half. No, I haven't even got my gifts yet. And they gave him the cutest pile of gifts that had wrapping paper with alternating his face and Barney the dinosaur face.
It was the cutest ever.
Where did they order that? I've got to figure out. How does she do that, Angie?
Well, she sent me a picture of it before.
Okay.
I knew about the wrapping paper and I about died when I saw it. But she was walking out of a
Oh,
store like she had it done at a Staples or something. I don't know, but I'm
what?
like, I need that. I need that. It was
I
adorable.
want that. And it was so cute because it was such a photo op too. She had him in the red and white pajamas, like
Uh-huh.
red pajamas piped in white. And then she had all these wrapped gifts with big old white bows on
It
them.
was
Like,
so cute.
and it was so funny because we have a video of him opening the gifts and he takes his Mardi Gras beads and he slaps them on every box. Clink, 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 clink. And she says in the background, he has to clink on every single gift before he opens it.
Yeah. He's going, what is in here? Did you not
Yes,
shake
I'm
the
going to
boxes
clink
under
for
the
a
tree?
second. Yeah, he made it really dramatic. But anyway, so that was great. On the way back to Utah, sometimes when we're at the end of something, and he knows he's going back to real life, he can be a little bit more amped than usual. And that's what he did, I guess.
But
We were
same.
on the plane. Yeah, you get to the end of
Those
a vacation, you're like, heck, no, I'm not ready for this to
Yeah,
end.
those Sunday scaries, those are real.
Yeah, that's what he had. He's sitting there on the plane with me going, wait a second.
What is going on?
I'm going from being doted on for like 5 days by these people who adore him and just, I adore him too, but my requirements are maybe a tad different
Yeah.
after the holidays are over. But so we're on the plane on the way back, and he's just like, will not listen to his iPad, will not listen to my phone, will not listen to anything. He's just like keeps giving me everything that I'm handing him. And I'm just like, oh gosh, don't hit the seat in front of you and don't abruptly stand up or
Yeah.
don't wet your pants or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was good. We made it and he was just kind of just nervous the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me nervous. But anyway, we got home and it was fine.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, it was fine, but
We've
it was just like a little nerve-wracking.
yeah. We've got tools in the toolbox to help with some of that with our travel presence
Yes.
activities and
Yes.
some of those things that you can pull out. I just think the airplane and being stuck adds another layer and level of, oh my gosh, we can't get outside and go on a walk, or we can't move our bodies in ways that sometimes
Yes.
Alec really appreciates to get some of the
Yeah.
angst out. And so it's a bit of a catch 22, but we do try and utilize
Well,
those tools the
and
best we can.
yeah, and I think we've talked about before that he kind of gets plugged in to whether I'm nervous or not. And I
100%.
was,
Yeah.
and as Angie knows, I got a little nervous the day before, or like, was it the night before? And I start calling Angie saying, is there anybody who could fly with me home with him? Because so anyway, we found Angie's niece could go, and we threw her way in the back of the plane by the bathroom. But she didn't mind.
She doesn't care.
No. And she came home with me, and it was just a relief just to have her there. And then she
Yeah.
helped me get him settled in the day after we came home. And that was really nice that he and
Yeah.
I were by ourselves. And so it was good to come back.
Absolutely. Well, another thing we've talked about
Go
is
ahead.
that part of the stress and the anxiety and the lack of sleep, or all of these things, can be triggers for Alec to have seizures. And I think one thing we did really well this year was allowing him downtime. And we still kind of did our best to keep with our routines. And because of that, he was able to feel calm and a sense of, peace throughout the several weeks that he was out of his normal routine with his team members. So,
Right. We had discussed how his sleep schedule this time was, I really let him lead it,
mm-hmm,
which we don't typically do. We keep him on a very regimented sleeping schedule so that his seizures don't act up, and
mm-hmm,
we keep it all under control, and his behavior's better. Just his body functions better whenever his sleep is on a routine. But this time, if he took a shower at 8:30 and he wanted to go right to bed, I honored that and just let him go straight to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I let him go to bed at 8:30, what time is he going to get up? Very late. It was like I, I think he needed, it was kind of like he had a holiday hangover, although he had nothing to drink, I promise, or smoke or anything. Um, he was totally just living on his soda water, and he just needed more sleep.
Yeah.
And I just let him do it. And also, the great thing that happened was he did not wet the bed at all during the holidays. We weren't limiting his liquids, and I was not enforcing the strict routine bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm not promoting that as a thing to do, but I thought we really let him listen to his body and determine how much he needed to sleep. And luckily he's a good sleeper
Yeah.
nowadays
Yeah.
and
Now.
was really willing to take that sleep that we were offering. So
Yeah.
it was good. It was
That's
good.
great.
It really paid off.
We also had wonderful weather. I mean, I say wonderful. I was actually a little bit grumpy about it here in Texas because it was way too hot to feel like
It was too hot.
Christmas.
Yes.
But if I wanted it that warm, I would have gone to Hawaii, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You would
It
have.
wasn't so frigid that we couldn't enjoy being outside. And
Right.
walking has just been a tremendous, tremendous thing for Alec. Getting out and getting his steps in and getting fresh air, I think, more than even the steps, maybe. There's something about it that
Yeah.
just boosts his mood and changes his day around. And so I know he was able to keep with the walking a ton while he was down here. And his caretaker that he was staying with here, who roomed with him in Utah, even sent us a message and was like, I can tell this kid has been out walking. Like he is at a clip and, you know, keeping up and enjoying it. And so that was really cool to have somebody who's not seen the, you know, week by week
Yeah.
progress or know that this is something we've kind of been pushing and working in Utah to say like, dang, dude, you're killing it out here. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. And then we got back to Utah, it was unseasonably warm here too.
Yeah.
And I got him out and was walking with him, and he was just so cute. If he had been just the slightest bit amped inside and we got him out, he took my phone, he listened to it very quietly without a headphone in.
Mm-hmm.
So he and I were both hearing the music and just, oh man, he walks so fast. He really does.
Yeah.
He got me really moving. And it was so, I loved it. And then, of course, we use the presence activities that we've talked about in past episodes. They're always so good just to get in focus. Sometimes we use the gross motor one. And when the weather wouldn't allow, I could just dump out a big container of the balls like from
Mm-hmm.
ball
The
pits.
ball pit.
And
Mm-hmm.
he would just walk around and pick those up. And by the time he had them all picked up, he was calm. So that worked really well. And I'm glad that we have that kind of shaped up so that he's using that as a tool.
Yeah, for sure. And anybody can implement those, which is one extra reason why I love them so much is once they're
Yeah.
established and the routines set, then anybody can make it happen. So,
Yeah. We had a few issues with his behavior.
yeah.
And the few issues, of course, I've already mentioned that he was a little bit amped from time to time, and you had mentioned that too. And then on the plane, he was a little bit amped on the way home, a little bit nervous, but we had switched him to eating at home mostly.
Mm-hmm.
How long have we implemented that? Would you say it's been 3 months?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
We've
what I thought. That's
yeah.
what I thought. It was around 3 months before the holidays hit
Mm-hmm.
that he had been eating mostly at home.
Right.
Even though he loves eating out, we switched it to about 2 times a week, which has been really good for his waistline and really good for him just feeling good and his
Yeah.
body working
Yeah.
better. And so the problem is when we went into the holidays, we all were going out to eat more than eating at home.
Yeah.
And Heather commented, who is his caretaker we were mentioning earlier, that he had an accident in his pants on the way to the super fun thing that she took him to do with his friend. And so that was an issue, but it was only an issue one time.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can't control those things because he
Yeah.
communicates with a letterboard and didn't have any way to tell her. But
That's so hard in the car.
so Yeah, it's horrible. His skin picking was great until the last few days, and I'm not quite sure what the difference was. I couldn't really put my finger on it, why he just woke up one day and he had scratched his hand
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit. And then he had a little bit of a flare up. My daughter came to town to Utah, and she has three children. He seemed to do fine with the family coming in, and
Yeah.
that was good. And we did some good activities every day. The kids spent some time away from him and some time with him. They requested to go to his house to play because he does have the funnest house on the planet.
Yes,
And they
absolutely.
love all of his fun toys and stuff in his backyard because the weather was warmer. But he was like kind of putting his hand in the driver's space. We were
Mm-hmm.
allowing him to sit in the front seat, which we don't always do. And he kept putting his hand in the driver's space or reaching for the steering wheel if I was driving. And what we do when that happens is we put him in the back seat, or we have a third row and we put him all the way to the back. And that's when he really knows, oh boy, I better stop that behavior because it's just not safe to have him,
Yeah.
putting
Grabbing the
his hand
steering
in the,
wheel.
yeah, just kind of putting his hand in the driver's face. It's just
Yeah,
not that safe.
that's
Or
not to
driving.
tolerate.
Yeah. So anyway, and we also can't use a child lock in the front seat. So that
Mm-hmm.
has been an issue in the past. So we got to watch out for that.
Yeah, typically those aren't day-to-day problems, but when we see him, it's nice to know we've got a backup seat and can really stick it to him that way. But overall, I mean, I agree. A solid B plus. Like,
Yeah.
way to
And
go,
we're happy
Al.
about that.
Yeah, we
We're happy about that.
did not have any seizures. There were not any big episodes of behavior, large fits of any
Yeah.
sort. And that is
Yeah.
something to celebrate for sure.
Yeah. So what would you say like the top three things that we did that really made a difference? If you were just looking at the facts, what do you think, Angie? What did we do that was different this year?
I love that he still got to spend time with people who we knew would help him feel comfortable, relaxed, and enjoy his holiday. We 100% knew that Heather and her mom would give that to him and that he
Yeah.
wanted that for himself as well, and still got to be close to family. I love that I got to see him. Not that that was the highlight of his break, even though it was
How do
mine.
you know, Angie? It might have been.
But I think setting him up for success that way with an environment was, of course, top notch. It did include the transition, but most breaks do, and he tolerates those well. So the surroundings of who he was with, whether, again, with Heather, with family, however that went. And then also really allowing him to have some say in his schedule and to get that extra sleep, I do think was a great play on your part to allow him the needed rest and to let him listen to his body. So I think that was
But
great.
I didn't want to tell you about that.
I know, but you
Because
did. You came clean.
Angie does not tolerate sleeping in. She's a bit of a drill sergeant when it comes to,
I am not.
no offense, but you like people to get up and get going.
You gotta not waste your day,
Yeah, we didn't want him to waste his day, but my gut was telling me, and I've told y'all before in the podcast, you got to listen to the gut. And I was afraid of Angie. I was afraid of telling her. And I told her niece, I said, don't you dare tell Angie what time he slept to today. And then I ended up coming clean because I knew I couldn't,
Can't
it
hide
was
it
too
from
good
me.
of a thing. I couldn't hide it from you because the great news was he didn't wet the bed.
I know. And we
One
even
night,
had
what are you going to say?
I was going to say, we even had one where he got up from his bed early in the
Yes.
morning, took himself to the
Yes.
bathroom, and put himself back to bed, which is always a reason to celebrate. We love
He did that multiple times,
Yeah.
but this time you're talking about it was at 5:30 in the morning, and he went into the bathroom that's connected to his room, and it was occupied. And so he went
Oh, yes.
all the way down the hall and busted in my room, flipped the light on. And I was never so happy to see someone at 5 30 in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
I was like, come on in, buddy.
Yeah.
It was great. It was
So
so great. It was so great.
we love that. And I don't know that we've really made this clear, but that transition back to Utah was not just jumping back to Utah and jumping back into his day-to-day routine. Christy's home in Utah is not far from where Alec's group home setting is. And so you did a really good job, Christy, of just keeping those separate and helping him realize and recognize that this was still break time from the day-to-day
Yeah.
demands and expectations that come with his team members coming in and activities and, chores and other responsibilities that he is now back to and enjoying and thriving being back into his routine. But that could have been a little bit tricky or harder for him to handle or be confused about if he were sleeping in his own bed at home, but people weren't coming in and helping him. Like those expectations
Yeah.
get muddled, and we didn't have that
Yeah.
type of
He,
confusion.
he can also feel like he's been abandoned, I think, during the
Mm-hmm.
holidays by his
Mm-hmm.
team. And it didn't give him an opportunity to do that
Yeah.
because he was very clearly at my place. And I'm not as set up for him, but I'm set up for him and he can sleep here and be comfortable. And we have a little hot tub here, and he did his requirement to get in the hot tub. And the minute he did his requirement in the bathroom, he would beeline it over to where I keep his swimsuits. And that is, when you see the wheels turning in his head, it's
Yeah.
just so exciting. The place I didn't see the turning in his head and where I had to give him a B plus and not an A minus, he didn't communicate as well with me.
Mm.
His spontaneous communication is off the charts right now with his team.
Yeah.
He's pulling his board and spontaneously initiating with them. With me, he was like, mom can read my mind, basically.
Yeah.
She knows what I want.
Yeah.
When he's around me, he just kind of rests on his laurels and is like, she knows I know how to do this. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell her I want a drink. I'm just going to go to the fridge and get one,
I mean, and you're the mom and you get to do that. And it was Christmas
Well,
vacation. So
that's what you tell me, Angie, but and I don't have a lock on my pantry like we do back at his house where
Right.
he's required to pull his board off the Velcro and get access to that. And I'm telling you, if you want to increase communication, that is a thing
You
to do.
have to do that 100%.
You have to do that.
Yep.
And I've kind of resisted it in the past, but I do think it works and I love it. But
Yeah.
that was where the B plus came in too, because I really wish he would communicate with me more with the board,
Mm-hmm.
with the letter board, instead of just waiting for me to like take care of him as I did back when he was younger and didn't have his board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
but all in all, B plus, I'm happy. I'm
yes.
pumped.
I'm thrilled. It was great. It seems like he enjoyed the break. We've all come back ready to, start the new year off with some new goals and new exciting things to look forward to. And we will be sharing
Yeah.
some of Alec's goals and New Year's resolutions with you guys soon, because that's another big part of how we like to start off the new year. And our teams come back re-energized and rearing to go. So we hope your holidays and time spent with family were lovely. And let's just say, if you didn't get a B plus and it was maybe a C or a D, there's always next year. And it's
we've
not
had
always
those
been,
years.
yeah, it's not always been so great for us. And, there's always room for improvement. So take note, kind of see what things you can change and improve for next year, and try again, because things can get better as we set up systems and routines to support these individuals with autism. So that's a wrap for today's episode of Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. If you're loving the conversations as much as we are, hit the follow button, share the show, and help us spread the word, because every piece of the story matters. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Until next time, bye.
Bye.